J'ai une putain de vue ce soir. De ma chambre je vois la ville en bas. Toujours la même histoire. Prédateur embusqué sur les toits. J'suis putain de seul, putain de bleu. J'ai une putain d'envie de toi. Je sais ce qu'ils veulent et je joue le jeu. J'ai une putain de carrière devant moi. Je suis trop déter, rien à faire, t'en as pour longtemps avec moi. J'ai vu l'avenir, allumer les écrans, aucun ton sourire, réveiller les enfants, lors du nouvel oui, sous des paupières, je me sens déjà différent. Ce soir et la suite tu la connais déjà. Je vais danser dans le noir, prédateur embusqué dans les bois. J'ai un putain de plan, putain de creux, j'ai des putains de vues sur toi. Qu'est-ce que t'attends pour jouer le jeu? C'est un putain de cocktail, toi et moi. Allumer les écrans, réveiller les enfants. Déjà différent. Allumer les écrans, réveiller les enfants. Je me sens déjà différent. Je suis le plus petit de mon entourage. J'écoute tout ce qu'on me dit, tous les présages, tous les avis. Et j'entends la franchise, j'entends le converti. Même le plus si sûr de lui, au fond n'est pas si sûr de lui. Et j'ai compris qu'il n'y avait rien à comprendre dans cette vie. Ni tout seul, ni tous ensemble. Mais je respecte que tu te poses toutes ces questions. Et je te souhaite de trouver tes propres raisons. D'ici là, la lune brille pour toi. Elle guide chacun de tes pas dans l'escalier qui mène au toit. C'est ta victoire, c'est ma victoria. C'est une raison d'être là si j'entends résonner ta voix. Et ça fait 2-3 jours que tu n'es pas bien. Tu ressasses le même discours, que t'es flippé parce qu'on n'est rien. Et tu sais plus choisir entre un cuir et un blouson. C'est normal, t'es qu'un pigeon face à l'enchaînement des saisons. Ouais, t'as compris qu'il n'y avait rien à comprendre dans cette vie. Ni tout seul, ni tous ensemble. Mais je respecte qu'ils se posent toutes ces questions. Et je leur souhaite de trouver les bonnes raisons. D'ici là, la lune brille pour toi. Elle guide chacun de tes pas dans l'escalier qui mène au toit. C'est ta victoire, c'est ma victoria. C'est une raison d'être là si j'entends résonner ta voix. le plus petit de mon entourage. J'écoute tout ce qu'on me dit, tous les présages, tous les avis. Et j'entends la franchise, j'entends le converti. Même le plus si sûr de lui, au fond n'est pas si sûr de lui. Et j'ai compris qu'il n'y avait rien à comprendre dans cette vie, ni tout seul ni tous ensemble. Mais je respecte que tu te poses toutes ces questions, et je te souhaite de trouver tes propres raisons. D'ici là, la lune brille pour toi, elle guide chacun de tes pas dans l'escalier qui mène au toit. C'est ta victoire, c'est ma victoria. C'est une raison d'être là, si j'entends résonner ta voix. Et ça fait 2-3 jours que tu n'es pas bien. Tu ressasses le même discours, que t'es flippé parce qu'on n'est rien. Et tu sais plus choisir entre un cuir et un blouson. C'est normal, t'es qu'un pigeon face à l'enchaînement des saisons. Ouais, t'as compris, il n'y avait rien à comprendre dans cette vie, ni tout seul ni tous ensemble. Mais je respecte qu'ils se posent toutes ces questions, et je leur souhaite de trouver les bonnes raisons. D'ici là, la lune brille pour toi, elle guide chacun de tes pas dans l'escalier qui mène au toit. C'est ta victoire, c'est ma victoria. C'est une raison d'être là, si j'entends résonner ta voix.
J'en ai rêvé et ça viendra. Je fais des pas dans l'escalier qui mène au toit. Attends-moi là, j'en ai rêvé tellement de fois. Je fais des pas dans l'escalier qui mène à toi.
Je suis le plus petit de mon entourage. J'écoute tout ce qu'on me dit, tous les présages, tous les avis. Et j'entends la franchise, j'entends le converti. Même le plus si sûr de lui, au fond n'est pas si sûr de lui. Et j'ai compris qu'il n'y avait rien à comprendre dans cette vie, ni tout seul ni tous ensemble. Mais je respecte que tu te poses toutes ces questions, et je te souhaite de trouver tes propres raisons. D'ici là, la lune brille pour toi, elle guide chacun de tes pas dans l'escalier qui mène au toit. C'est ta victoire, c'est ma victoria. C'est une raison d'être là, si j'entends résonner ta voix.
Et ça fait 2-3 jours que tu n'es pas bien. Tu ressasses le même discours, que t'es flippé parce qu'on n'est rien. Et tu sais plus choisir entre un cuir et un blouson. C'est normal, t'es qu'un pigeon face à l'enchaînement des saisons.
Ouais, t'as compris, il n'y avait rien à comprendre dans cette vie, ni tout seul ni tous ensemble. Mais je respecte qu'ils se posent toutes ces questions, et je leur souhaite de trouver les bonnes raisons. D'ici là, la lune brille pour toi, elle guide chacun l'escalier qui mène au toit. C'est ta victoire, c'est ma victoria. C'est une raison d'être là si j'entends résonner ta voix.
J'en ai rêvé et ça viendra. Je fais des pas dans l'escalier qui mène au toit. Attends-moi là, j'en ai rêvé tellement de fois. Je fais des pas dans l'escalier qui mène à toi.
Je suis le plus petit de mon entourage. J'écoute tout ce qu'on me dit, tous les présages, tous les avis. Et j'entends la franchise, j'entends le confetti. Même le plus si sûr de lui, au fond n'est pas si sûr de lui. Et j'ai compris qu'il n'y avait rien à comprendre dans cette vie, ni tout seul, ni tous ensemble. Mais je respecte que tu te poses toutes ces questions et je te souhaite de trouver tes propres raisons. Ici là, la lune brille pour toi. Elle guide chacun de tes pas dans l'escalier qui mène au toit. C'est ta victoire, c'est ma victoria. C'est une raison d'être là si j'entends résonner ta voix.
Et ça fait 2-3 jours que tu n'es pas bien. Tu ressasses le même discours, que t'es flippé parce qu'on n'est rien. Et tu sais plus choisir entre un cuir et un blouson. C'est normal, t'es qu'un pigeon face à l'enchaînement des saisons.
Ouais, t'as compris qu'il n'y avait rien à comprendre dans cette vie, ni tout seul, ni tous ensemble. Mais je respecte qu'ils se posent toutes ces questions et je leur souhaite de trouver les bonnes raisons. Ici là, la lune brille pour toi. Elle guide chacun de tes pas dans l'escalier qui mène au toit. C'est ta victoire, c'est ma victoria. C'est une raison d'être là si j'entends résonner ta voix.
J'en ai rêvé et ça viendra. Je fais des pas dans l'escalier qui mène au toit. Attends-moi là, j'en ai rêvé tellement de fois. Je fais des pas dans l'escalier qui mène à toi.
men ready to attention. What the fuck is this goddamn low energy goddamn chat? It's been a goddamn day since I've seen you guys. I want to see some fucking energy in this chat. We're going to be investigating what the fuck just happened to the SVB Bank. And oh my god, it's the run. It's happening. It's happening. It's the end of the world. Honestly, in all honesty, it's really worth investigation. It's really looking into this. I haven't fully even done it yet, by the way, but I've already read what Michael Hudson had to say about it. Sounds convincing. We're going to investigate closer. And I'm going to specifically use this as a teachable moment, as an opportunity to explain why it proves that baristas are not workers. Just kidding, but I think it's kind of related, actually. I think it's maybe related to the barista discourse, and I'm going to bring this back to the baristas because they don't get enough shit from us, to be honest. The SVB Bank, if you guys don't know what this was, the largest or one of the most prominent Silicon Valley banks, which served as an investment bank for startups, experienced a bank run. If you don't know what a bank run is everyone was taking out their deposits from that bank, overwhelming the bank to the point of collapse, and the people can't get their money back who had deposits in that bank. I'm going to basically give you a rundown about why that happened, and it's starting to have ripple effects in the wider economy in the United States. Now, to be fair, I'll be fair about something. I've been predicting a collapse of the U.S. economy for years now. I remember it was 2021, and I was saying the same thing, and I thought it was going to happen then, and it hasn't happened. So I kind of just started to be like, you know what? I don't know what's going on. Is this thing on? Is the mic on? Or what's going on? Because we've been predicting this collapse for a very long time. And it seems like maybe this is now where it's happening, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But Michael Hudson thinks so. He thinks this is the beginning of unraveling the system created after the 2008 financial crash. Now, I think I had a bet with Destiny running that was 2 years. It was 5 years. I said there's going to be an economic collapse within the next few years, some kind. And he was like, no, it's not going to happen. Maybe this is what vindicates me. I don't know. I don't want to get too cocky. Before I get into that, I want to tell you guys about my day. So, today, I woke up, and me and Nadia watched Puss in Boots. The movie Puss in Boots. And I don't have a fucking analysis of Puss in Boots. You guys think I was about to do a fucking analysis of Puss in Boots? I don't have one. I don't have one at all. I actually think it's somewhat of a interesting movie. I could actually have an analysis of Puss in Boots if I wanted to. But I'm not going to do that. But I thought, what a cute, wholesome movie. If I had a son or a daughter, I would watch that movie with them. But the ending, Shrek is coming back. And that's what I was excited for. Because they were on the sailboat, and they were sailing to Shrekland. So Shrek is coming back. And as a person who identifies greatly with Shrek in many regards, as a person who admires what Shrek is all about and Shrek's whole, Shrek is like the Mr. Krabs of that universe. So that's just a nice thing about my day, that I was watching Puss in Boots and had a great time. But the thing that's important is what's going on with SVB. Now, I got to update you guys on a few things before we get into it, okay? First thing I want to update you on, thank you so much, PJ. Appreciate you, man.
I disagree. I believe this is a crackdown on crypto and a bid to save USD hegemony. But I guess we'll see. It will be interesting.
I agree. I think collapse can also take the form of, a system transition of some kind. And I have more to say on it, but I want to update you guys on a few things. So, the Russian guys who did the interview with me, they got back to me. It was a text interview, about 40 pages long. And they said they're going to post it either today or tomorrow. That's what they told me. It should be up either today or tomorrow. But I have some bad/good news, and I just want to give you guys a heads up. Thank you so much, Megadolphy.
Comrade Shrek.
Thank you so much, Megadolphy. I have some good/bad news for you right now, and I want to give you a heads up, okay? So, this stream cannot last that long, because at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, I am going to be getting interviewed live by a certain foreign news outfit, which I'm not gonna spoil it or tell you which one it is, but it's a foreign news outfit. And if Red Libs found out I was getting interviewed by them, they would get extremely upset. It would really upset them, okay? So I'm going to be doing that kind of interview. It's not RT. I haven't done it before. It's not RT. It's not RT, okay? But I don't know if it's going to be an official interview, but I am going to be talking to them at 11, okay? So I can't stream that late, and I wanted to stream earlier. A lot of things happen. I have an excuse. I always have a good excuse. I don't just do it for no reason, okay? Another thing. I am in the works with some elite infrared visionaries, right? And we are designing the logo for our para-communist party. And it's already looking really good, to be honest. Thank you so much, The King.
Redacted made a good point earlier that this SVB scandal is paving the way to centralized digital currency.
Yep, that's the point Tucker Carlson made. And trust me, I'm going to get all into that. The logo is being created, and alongside discussions about what kind of technology this is going to take, because the number one thing we're going to establish, we need 2 protocols. As soon as we finish this, I'm going to announce a date for an in-person event. If, under the condition, I want to get at least 75 people at the event in person, if that is possible, I don't know. Where I'm going to be kickstarting the organization. But the 2 things we need to nail down is a verification system and a system to prevent impersonation, okay? And that might rely on some kind of cryptographic signature technology, but if any of you are savvy when it comes to the blockchain technology or cryptographic signatures or some kind of way to create a public system of verification and unique generation of unique identities, please DM me and I will add you to this group, and you can greatly accelerate the process by which we roll out this organization, because I haven't even told you the name yet, and that's how fucking paranoid I am about it. But I'm working on it almost every day. And I'm also working with Alibaba on hats and getting hats and shit, the merch, because it's going to be heavily tied to it. So there's a lot of updates going on, and I don't know where I would hold the event exactly. I'm thinking somewhere in the heart of America, maybe Chicago, maybe Detroit, and that way I don't even have to take a plane. I don't know. I don't know where I'm gonna hold the event. So this is what's in the works right now. That's why I didn't stream yesterday. I'm gonna be straight up. Why didn't I stream yesterday? I was going to, and Nadia was too. She got ready to stream. Because I spent like a few hours with some infrared visionary guys, and we were just thinking about designing the logo, and they had the illustrator. I was like, okay, do this. What does this look like? So that's pretty much why I didn't stream yesterday. It's for that logo, right? I promise you guys, this is gonna be fucking game changing. Long past the days, are we just gonna exclusively be bitching about Joe Sims and Taryn? We are launching our own organization, See, it's complicated, right? It's going to be the Communist Party we want to see. The goal of the organization is to build the party. So we're not going to say, oh, we're the Communist Party, but we're also saying we are the Communist Party. It's dialectics, right? The purpose of the organization I'm launching is to build a Communist Party movement by 2036. So our goal is the 2036 Communist Party USA, rebuilt and reconstituted with, hundreds of thousands of people. That's what we're dreaming of. We're dreaming of a 10-year plan where we are going to create a political movement with hundreds of thousands of active members and something long-lasting. So the goal is not to become president. The goal is to build the movement, to build the party, okay? So that's what we're headed for, and that's what we're doing. And this is going to be on the way soon. And we're going to, once this fucking ball gets, this is what I care about. I care about this. Thank you so much, Beyond Redacted.
I have become infrared pilled. Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much, Reacted. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. So I'm not even really focused that much. Thank you so much, Chris M.
Us, why don't you have short videos and clips for new recruits?
Because right now, I'm not focusing that much on the channel as I should be, at least, and on content. Because I'm kind of focusing on this organization that I want to launch. Because this is really what's going to get the ball rolling. I don't want to be a political react streamer forever. I don't want to be like Hassan. I don't want to be like Vosh and all these people where I'm just like here to react to events. I want to actively participate in creating something and building something. I am sick of being disappointed of what's going on in the CPUSA, and I'm also sick of how they're postponing elections, doing all this fucking nonsense. So I am ready for us to take it to the next fucking level, and I'm ready to start reacting to content that I have an active involvement in creating in the first place. Like, I'm going to be here as the news guy. I'm going to be covering what our organization is doing. I'm going to be giving it all of its attention. It's going to be a beautiful, seamless, unprecedented system, okay? We are going to utilize the highest forms of information technology, blockchain technology, possibly even AI down the road, right? And we're going to use that to augment a cutting-edge 21st century political organization. It's not just going to be futuristic aesthetically, it's going to be a technologically, organizationally, advanced, future-oriented kind of organization. That's what we're here for, okay? I am so sick of these backwards-looking fucking people. We're taking politics and political organization to the next fucking level, and I think something big is going to come of it. I am so confident that this is the next level. Because, guys, it's only for so long that I could be a guy in front of a camera dancing around. At a certain point, you got to get to the point where you're just like, all right, let's actually start, getting the ball fucking rolling, right? I don't want to just, what am I going to open the camera and just tell you, oh, we're fucked? I'm not Hassan. I don't want to be like Hassan. I want to get the fucking ball rolling. And guys, look at me. Just look at me. Look at me if you were a archaeologist and an anthropologist trying to look through human remains and you saw me and I'm just sitting there. Do I look like a fucking actor to you? Do I just look like a guy who sits on camera? I look like a fucking guy who should be in the battle, right? I look like a guy who should be on the ground in the fucking heat of battle, right? I love streaming and I love doing this, but we need to add something because I have gotten to a point, and I don't want to jinx myself, but I am starting to have some disposable capital. I've saved up over the past 2 years a decent amount to where I can feel comfortable starting to put it into something bigger. Like, you guys, I've gotten to a point, you guys pay for my bills, you guys pay for my subsistence, my ability to do the streaming, and now I have some extra where I can kind of feel comfortable being like, all right, I'm not talking about too much either. It's really not too much, but I'm willing to now take the risk because it's been years and years, and we've built up this machine. And now, for example, that's why I'm doing the merch stuff. The merch stuff isn't fucking cheap, okay? I just paid like $85 for a sample just right now, just tonight, okay? But I have see, that's where all your donations went to. Like, I have the ability and the camera and shit, but now I have the fucking ability to do shit like that, and that's thanks to you guys, right? The war chest. And I'm so excited because we at least we can know where we are right now, right? We are not saying we're going to create a party from scratch. We're just saying we are going to build the backbone and the skeleton and the prerequisites for a real functioning party. And that's what I'm so fucking excited for. We are going to build the backbone of CPUSA 2.0. But for those of you who are still in the CPUSA, stay there. Stay there and continue your takia. But for those of you who've been expelled, and for those of you who have zero chance whatsoever of acquiring any leadership or any key positions in the party, this is going to be for you, okay? So, I'm excited for this. And it may fail. But if this fails, we'll learn from it at the very least. And we'll get some good merch along the way, right? This initiative may fail, though. Thank you so much,
Gold
Orville.
for the war chest.
Thank you so much, Orville. I appreciate you so much, man. This may very well fail, right? But we have to try. We have to keep trying. And guys, it's going to be the backbone of an organization. It's not going to be the party itself. It's going to be the backbone of one, all right? It's going to primarily be, and it's also going to be a decentralized way of generating content creation at the ground level, right? We're going to make this infrared vision. We're going to make it our own stylish, trendy. We're going to make it a fucking way of life. People say, oh, this is a cult. Nah, we're worse than a cult. Thank you so much, PJ.
If anyone here knows JavaScript or Python, you can learn Solidity and contribute to infrared while making yourselves more hireable in the future.
That's very true. Thank you so much, Python. We're going to be more than a cult, though. We're going to be a generation of trend-setting, tasteful gentlemen. We're going to be, it's a specific vibe. We're going to have a specific fashion, a specific trend, specific outlook. Like, we're going to be like the future of culture among the politically motivated youth in this country. And you guys are going to be, we're going to make it stylish. We're going to make it good. We're going to make it effective. We're going to make it impressive. Everyone's going to be articulate and well-spoken. We're going to have random-ass fucking gorillas in these big places where people are congregating. Random-ass fucking gorillas. They're just going to be walking up. We're going to have gorillas. They're just going to be walking up, and then they're going to be out in the crowd. They're going to be like, excuse me, sir, but you are wrong about that. And here is how I will eloquently explain to you the theories of what is exactly going on astrophysically at the cosmological level of the constant. You see, sir, I am a well-spoken gorilla. And it's like you be trendsetters. You know, dude on the side of the street. Dude on the side of the street. Just warriors. Ability to reach out to anyone, go anywhere. You know what I mean? Thank you so much, Violent. Appreciate you.
If I get the infrared logo printed on a hijab, will you sue me?
No, I won't sue you for that. Why would I say? I don't care. I'm gonna, guys. So here's my take. All right, don't take my word for it. So far, I'm not gonna. If it gets fucking ridiculous, I will. But I'm more like Disney. The reason I don't want you guys to sell my logo and shit and sell infrared merch isn't because I don't want you to make money. It's because I want brand design exclusivity, because I want to be able to dictate or at least oversee. Like, Disney does, it's not about money for Disney. It's about, like, we don't want you to fucking depict Mickey Mouse doing goatsy or some shit, right? That's why Disney's so fucking, like, uptight about their fucking brand copyright enforcement. Like, they don't want somebody taking Mickey Mouse and have him twerk or some shit. They don't want somebody taking Mickey Mouse and have him, like, you know, chilling with Burger King and Ronald McDonald. Like, they don't want that shit, right? They want Mickey Mouse to be a specific. So it's kind of like that with infrared. Like, I don't want the brand to be misrepresented, right? It's not really about the money, okay? It's not really about the money, okay? Yeah, that's why Disney will sue anybody. But I'm not that bad. I'm just saying, like, that's how it is. I see it the same way, okay? But the infrared globe is public. It's public fair use. What is it called? What is it called again? It's a common property, whatever that fuck is. So I couldn't even enforce. I couldn't copyright it if I wanted to. I'm just saying, in good faith, I am not a fan of people selling infrared merch, although I can't stop it, and I'm not that butthurt about it. But it's just like, it's not really something I would prefer people doing. Creative Commons, that's exactly. But it's like, I can't control it, so it's whatever. But the real infrared merch, you're gonna get it from infrared. It's gonna be like you don't want some knockoff Mickey Mouse bullshit. You want the real thing, right? And that's why I'm making the perfect hats. 2 hats, only 2. One infrared hat, one MAGA communism hat. We're going to start off with only 2, right? 2 perfect hats. Okay? So that's what I want. All right? And, yeah, Creative Commons, public domain. So that's what we're doing. I am my heart and my soul is fucking here. I am so fucking excited for this shit, man. You guys have no idea where we started from. Thank you so much, Serve.
I don't live in the United States. Do you have any tips for Eurocells pushing the infrared vision?
But you got to begin with the press, you know? You guys, you know what? I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I remember when it was just me and like 2 other people years ago, and we were... What effed? What effed? What effed? Fuck's sake, man. Fuck's sake. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Fuck off, YouTube. The fuck, man? Yeah, YouTube throttles my shit. We all know they fucking do that. They throttle the fuck out of my shit, okay? Anyway, guys. I remember a time. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but it's like, if it's a small F, then don't fucking spam F, you stupid fucks. If it's a small F, don't fucking spam it. Only spam it if after 15 seconds, there's nothing. Wait 20 seconds, okay? Wait 20 fucking seconds before you start spamming F in my fucking chat. You goddamn fucking idiots who are interrupting the fucking stream for everyone. You fucking hyenas. Chill the fuck out. Anyway, I remember, okay? I remember, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself or too excited, but it's like I remember back in the day when it was just 3 of us years ago, and we were like, how do we make the party? How do we make an organization? And it's like, I am living my dream now. It's like, I can finally do this. I've always had good ideas, but I've never had the audience. And now I do, and it's like, fuck, we can do this now, you know? We can make this a big thing. And that's what makes me so happy. That's my, like, we could really kickstart something. I can't just be here on the internet forever. I mean, I'm going to always be on the internet, but I can't just only stream forever. I got to also dig something in the ground, dig something in the soil, right? Infrared will I can't just report on reality. I have to also change reality. We're gonna make it fucking real, guys. CPUSA 2036. We're gonna build our fucking dream party. We're gonna build our fucking party. We're gonna be able to participate in that historical mission. I have a fucking dream, and I fucking believe in it. I fucking believe in this shit. I fucking believe in this shit. And I will dedicate my fucking life to making this dream happen. My dream is a communist party for the working class, a movement of hundreds of thousands of fucking people. And I am so excited to start doing it. And no longer do we have to consider the disgusting, decrepit, Hitlerite, fascist, scumbag leadership of the current CPUSA, so-called, our obstacle.
2022 was a much-needed dormant era of infrared. We studied the blade. 2023 is the year infrared starts winning harder than ever. That's
how it's going to be. That's all my mind is focused on. And the stakes have never been fucking higher. But let me tell you something, and this is really important, so keep this in mind, okay? Infrared is first and foremost, before anything else. We are students, just like the Taliban was students. We are the students of Marxism, Leninism in the American context. What we want to do is promote the study. This is how the Cultural Revolution started. This is how the Taliban started. We are just here to promote the study of Marxism, Leninism in America. We want to promote the study of Marxism, Leninism in America. Repeat after me, ladies and gentlemen. We want to promote the study of Marxism, Leninism in America. We want to promote and cultivate an interest in the study of Marxism, Leninism in America. That's primarily what we're fucking here for, okay? It's always been about education. It's always been about education. And this is just going to be part of it. This is going to just be part of it. And we are not having any cringe associated with this organization we're launching. If we LARP, it's going to be beautiful, tasteful, badass LARP. Otherwise, we're not doing it. Okay? We are going to be tasteful. We're not going to be fucking cringe. Everything we do, all of our public exploits, will be things that are interesting, things that are commendable and tasteful for the majority of people. And you guys are going to put into practice your studies. You're going to learn Marxism, Leninism through this organization, and you're also going to put what you learn into practice. And that is probably the most important part of all. We're not going to be cringe. We're not going to be posturing, okay? We are going to, and you know what's beautiful? It's going to be decentralized. That's the thing I'm most excited for. I'm so excited to see the creativity from the community. I'm so excited to see what you guys can come up with. I'm so excited to see the things you can innovate. I mean, it's going to be decentralized. It's going to be a new form of democratic centralism where it's going to be partially centralized, but it's going to be like Deng Xiaoping's reforms. Like, there is going to be so much room for experimental creativity. It's like, all we care about is what works, right? So it's like all of the brilliance and ingenuity of people, like all of that is going to be, we are going to learn from the Cultural Revolution, Deng Xiaoping's reforms. We're taking it to the next fucking level. We're taking it to the next fucking level, right? Even if it's just something as small as you guys going to a college campus and doing a Change My Mind, even if it's something as small as that, right? Even if it's something like organizing workers because their unions are letting them down. So go to the workers and start talking to the workers, being among the workers, recording their grievances. That's the most important thing you guys can do too, by the way. You guys can go to the workers and just start recording their grievances. How have the unions failed you? How have they betrayed you? What's going on at your workplace? What's going on in your everyday life? What are the things you need in your everyday life? These are the things we're going to report on 24/7. We're going to have a central website with articles and papers, and we're going to be fucking publishing them. I mean, we are going to get this fucking ball rolling, and you guys are going to participate in it, okay? So, I'm so excited for this. I'm excited for this. And this is what I dream about. This is what I care about. I feel like Infrared's message has gotten out there. It's just that nobody knows what I'm talking about. Nobody knows what Infrared is about because it hasn't become real yet, right? When it becomes real, people will start to understand what this is about, right? When it becomes real, people will start to understand, okay? We're doing Mass Line 2.0. We're going to be doing an ultra sleek, futuristic kind of thing, you know? And that much is going to be certain. And guys, at this point, we are taking, you know what we are? We are Tri-Solaris from the three-body problem. It's like, it's been the three-body problem. We have been wiped out thousands of times, hundreds of times, spanning, tens of millions of years in between. Thanks so much, Chris.
The average viewer isn't ready for hour-long videos. Appoint someone to clip your videos and post.
We'll do it. Don't worry.
You need to win the propaganda war on your
Chris,
haters.
don't worry about that, man. But thank you so much for the fight. We're going to get to that, all right? But now I want to invest in you guys, right? We're not going to have a dress code. Just dress with drip. If you got drip, you got drip. If you don't, you don't. You will be shamed. If you show up to one of these organization clubs and you dress in a ridiculous way, we're going to have our own version of struggle session. It's going to be called a drip session. You are going to be roasted. You are going to be interrogated, scrutinized, and critiqued, and you're going to be laughed at. And that will bully you into having some fashion sense and some taste. And that's how we're going to do it in the community, all right? And they're going to upload your fit to IGG, and everyone's going to clown on you. And then Okay, you'll be the butt of the joke, and then you'll learn. And then you'll learn, right? We may create entirely new fashion trends. We may have the big suit people. We may all just wear big ass suits and start that new trend. We don't know what it's gonna look like. Thank you so much, Paperwin. Thank you so much, Paperwin. But it's gonna make sense. It's gonna be the. You know how we have a taste? You know how we say anime's cringe? We don't do that. We all have a taste in the IGG community, and we're gonna like take that to real life. And it's like we're creating our own subculture. We're creating our own subculture that makes sense, and it's got its own taste, and it makes sense. You know what I mean? But let me tell y'all what. Okay? Let me tell y'all what. What the fuck was I gonna say? Oh yeah, we are like Tri-Solaris from the Three-Body Problem. So, hundreds of times, our civilization has gotten wiped out. Which means I've gotten banned from multiple platforms, multiple times. Multiple times. We've been stopped, we've been attacked, Twitter, all this bullshit. It's just like Tri-Solaris. And it's because the three-body problem cannot be solved. The three-body problem cannot be solved. And you know what that means? That means we are Tri-Solarans. We've built our stellar fleet. And we're on our way to Earth. Invasion has already begun. It'll take us 400 years to get there. We don't care. We're already flying through the stars. The indomitable spirit of Tri-Solaris will live on through the cosmos, through the heavens. We are going to Earth. We're leaving the leftists behind. We're leaving them behind. We're leaving all these scumbags behind. And we have it in our sights, right? We've got it in our sights, and we're fucking going there. Okay? We already on our way. We are Tri-Solarans, already on our way to a new home. That's how we see it, guys. Thank you so much, sir.
Infrared has already changed the game. Even in Europe, a real left is emerging. And they are growing by the day. I've
heard. And guys, these other leftists, they're weak. We killed their spirit because they're fucking weak. So we killed their spirit. And they're just tired, guys, because every day you guys are with the memes on Twitter. Every single day, you guys fucking Ron Paul Obamasm, Trump. Every single day, you guys are out here with the memes. And their spirit is broken. They can't resist us anymore. We're just more energetic because we actually believe is fucking blowing the competition out the water. The red libs. So did y'all wait 30 seconds? Did y'all wait 30 seconds before deciding to shit on the stream and distract me from my message? I hope you waited 30 seconds. I hope y'all waited 30 seconds. Because if you didn't, I'm banning 70 people at random. That reminds me, we got to watch Trump's speech. Okay? That does remind me we got to watch Trump's speech. But I will ban the shit out of people at random for doing stupid shit like that. Spamming F's in the goddamn chat. When it's uncalled for, it's unnecessary, and it's not even needed that much. I mean, was it really necessary? It wasn't. Okay?
Oh my God.
Thank you so much, Crack Dealer. So let me give you a rundown about this SVB business. Finally, we're going to get to it, all right? Because this is really important, and we got to know whether or not we're going to be witnessing a financial collapse and whether it's happening now. All right. So, everybody, put your big brain antennas on. Because turn your brain on, okay? Because this is going to take some thinking to understand. So all you have to really understand, for purposes of understanding the SVB thing, okay? Take you 2 seconds. All right. So SVB is a bank. When you put your money in their bank, okay, to hold your money, and when you have an account in SVB, so first of all, it's a Silicon Valley startup investment bank, right? And so because it's an investment bank, when you put your money in SVB, they're taking your money and they are buying bonds. They're buying U.S. Treasury bonds, all right? Now, what are bonds? So government bonds, it's shit you buy, right? And they will give out a fixed interest. And this is how some of these investment banks raise capital to fund the startups. They get interest from the feds by buying up bonds. So the SVB Bank had a fuck ton of these bonds, right? It's pretty standard stuff for banks. I just have to explain to you how it collapsed, okay? Now, here's the problem. As you guys may already know, we are dealing with an inflation crisis. So that means the Fed has been raising interest rates. Now, why is the Fed raising the interest rates? The Fed is raising the interest rates because of inflation. Because the cost of goods is just more now, right? The cost of everything is just more. Most importantly, the cost of energy is up. Why is the cost of energy up? Because of the Russia-Ukraine war. And we're dealing with a supply chain already aggravated by the COVID crisis. Well, there's a new crisis with Russia-Ukraine war affecting food, gas, and all these other fundamentals. So inflation's up, and therefore the interest rate is up. And another factor Michael Hudson is focusing on is employment. So employment is also up, but wages haven't kept pace. So employment went up, but the wages didn't follow suit with... Sorry, give me a sec. Wages haven't followed suit with the rising inflation, okay? So that's created a lot of demand from consumers, and that demand has also aggravated the inflation, okay? So this is the situation we're dealing with. This is the situation we're dealing with. We're dealing with a situation where you've got the government raising interest. And now, why is it such a problem the government's raising interest rates? Because according to Michael Hudson, since 2008, the federal government spent $9 trillion of quantitative easing, pumping money into the economy, so lowering the shit out of interest rates so that people can borrow, right? Take from banks. That's how they offset the crisis of 2008. And that has resulted in probably the largest transfer of assets and wealth to the 1% in history, okay? It's aggravated the debt for the masses, and it has created a situation where, you know, the price of basic assets, so housing especially, has just went through the fucking roof, right? That's why the housing market has like gone to shit. Everyone who's telling us all these explanations of why is the housing market so inflated? Why is the housing market inflated? And they'll be like, oh, it's because of zoning laws. Or they'll say some stupid shit where like, oh, it's because of... It's not because of zoning laws. It's not even because landlords are greedy. Okay? Housing prices are up because of how the government bailed out the banks in 2008. And they fucking gobbled up housing like no tomorrow. They fucking gobbled it all up. So that's why. That's why. It's because of the quantitative easing policy and the 15-year zero interest rate policy, ZIRP, okay? So that has led to a situation where a lot of things have become inflated, not because of demand, not because of zoning, not because of this, not because of YIMBYs or NIMBYs or whatever bees. It's because of this broader macroeconomic policy by the Federal Reserve, federal government, to offset the 2008 financial crisis, right? So quantitative easing has bolstered the fuck out of banks. Banks have acquired an incredible new amount of power, but also leverage in the economy. That has led them, that's the reason for the housing crisis, by the way, in case people aren't aware of that, okay? So, what does this have to do with SVB? So for 15 years of lowered interest rates, right? I'm going off of Michael Hudson's analysis right now, by the way. It may or may not be true, but this is just what Michael Hudson is saying. So 15 years of lowered interest rates has come up against the brick wall of inflation. So inflation has required the Fed to increase interest rates for the first time. They don't want to do that typically, but now they're fucking doing it. Okay? So they've raised the interest rates. Now, what has that done to the bonds like the ones held by banks such as SVB? So SVB, let's say SVB has $100 billion in bonds. So they're buying those bonds at a fixed interest rate. When the Fed increases interest rates, okay, the value of those bonds goes down. Why? Because there's new bonds which pay out more because of the higher interest rates that become more lucrative and decrease the value of the prior existing bonds, okay? So, banks like SVB, when they're dealing with a bank run, we're going to get more into that as well, because that's something that's mysterious and I haven't seen an explanation for it, okay? But when they're dealing with like a situation like a bank run, they can't pay back their depositors. So the bank fucking collapses because they okay, we're going to pay back our depositors. We're going to sell our bonds. But your bonds are selling at a price lower than what they were bought for, which means lower than what the depositors gave you. So I give SVB $100. They take that $100 and buy a $100 bond. Okay, hey, give me my fucking money back. All right. They sell their bond, but they only get $80 in return. So that's pretty much what happened with SVB, okay? Now here's the mystery we need to solve and possibly crack together, and this is where it could get interesting. Why the fuck was there a bank run on SVB in the first place? What triggered the bank run? I haven't seen a convincing explanation for that. I have not seen that. That's what I haven't seen. I mean, I've seen this from the Telegram. I won't share that. But I don't know what the reason for that was. What was responsible for the bank run? Now, there's already some theories because this has implications. Now, without getting into conspiracy territory yet, could this possibly be a part of a plan of some kind? Because if someone triggered that bank run, then because the consequential result is going to be a more centralization and consolidation of the banking sector. Because it's not just SVB that's collapsing. There's another one as well. The First Republic Bank. That one's also collapsing, right? So, and it's others as well. So these, I guess, relatively smaller banks are collapsing. And then they're going to get taken over by the Fed. They're going to get taken over by bigger banks, right? So that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a further consolidation of the monopoly banking capital. Now, how this is all connected to the energy sector and what's going on there with the inflation, that's what a Marxism should be able to explain today. But Marxists are too busy trying to defend the ludicrous idea that baristas are producing value. Thank you so much,
Venture capital
Phosphor.
managers had insider info. They told their startups to withdraw their cash holdings.
That's also, yeah. I heard there was tweets like a week before this happened of people praising the bank. It's so weird, right? Yeah, the venture capital managers had insider info. Thank you so much, Phosphor. So we have to figure out why was there this bank run in the first place? Signature Bank also collapsed. Yeah. So why is the government... So I want to also point out a little irony here, right? SVB is supposedly a Silicon Valley bank investing in startups. Now, when you start to understand the economy, I know this is a superficial analysis, but when you start to understand the economy in terms of monopoly capital versus, what is it called? Incipient capital or incipient enterprise, you know, the hampering of the ability for startups to get off the ground, that does fit into the wider agenda and scheme of monopoly capital, which does want to kind of just devour everything, right? So something is here going on, but I'll give you a taste of it from Tucker Carlson because he's somewhat explaining it. And he's also adding the conspiracy angle, quote-unquote conspiracy theory angle, which, I mean, it hasn't been confirmed, it hasn't been denied, but we need to entertain it in order to understand just what forces were responsible for the bank run. Was it just that the randomly people just started to take their money out and then it triggered a chain reaction? The first bank that had trouble was Silvergate, which was mainly focused on crypto. Okay, I see. I heard that as well. Yeah. That's what started it. And why was that, by the way? Why did the Silvergate thing start? Was that because of the crypto price fluctuations or something? Okay, so maybe this is what happened. So Silvergate, you're telling me Silvergate collapsed because people got cold feet when it came to the price of crypto because it was probably going on free fall, collapsing? Is that what was going on with Silvergate or what? And that inadvertently maybe triggered? Because I don't want to just immediately go with the conspiracy angle. We need to like entertain all options as far as understanding it, right? Ukraine and FTX are involved. Huh. Yeah, this is like... Yeah. It's super mysterious. It's super, super fucking mysterious. But let's hear Tucker Carlson try to explain it.
So there was panic, of course, reflected in markets, and it wasn't just regional banks that were affected. For a while this morning, you could not even trade stock in Charles Schwab, venerable Charles Schwab. Schwab it down 20.
Thank you so much, PJ. Appreciate you, man. Right before the collapse, all of the major partners pulled out, including Coinbase. You're talking about of Silvergate? Something sus is going on. We know that. Like, something really sus. Thank you so much, PJ.
Right before the collapse, all of their major partners
is Voidburn
pulled
in
out,
Show Q?
including Coinbase.
Let me see. Hold on. Yeah, I have some like funny meme we're gonna save to the end. I'm gonna bring on Voidburn, but we have a funny meme, and I'm gonna share that with you in the end. But let's bring Voidburn in because he might have an explanation. Hey, what's up, Voidburn? How you doing? Hello?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's up?
I don't know if you saw, but Redacted did some news coverage on some of this, and there's a bit of a conflict of interest going on. About 3 days ago, there was a big announcement that Joe Biden had had gone through with signing an executive order for the Federal Reserve to investigate alternative forms of currencies, specifically like central bank digital currencies, right? The World Economic Forum is also like really big into integrating central digital currency into everyone's economies. These are remember before that you had pointed out that one of the main
and CMO Michelle Draper sold their shares worth $4.5 million in the company in late February.
Okay, that's really sus. Thank you, Paperone. Appreciate that. Sorry, Voidburn. Continue.
one of the main contributing factors to cryptocurrency's power as a decentralizing force, in a sense, it's a decentralizing force that gives economic freedom back to like average people that want to get involved in some form of investment strategy, right? All of these different like banks that are involved in crypto investment in one way or another, they just start plummeting. And then Biden signs an executive order to start investigating digital currencies. And then this is in tandem with all the different derailings and the chemical spills that are basically turning residential areas into like inhospitable, just toxic waste dumps. And you remember in the beginning where Biden postured about how he's going to reinvest in infrastructure and whatnot while our infrastructure is still decaying. Now you can say that like, well, the infrastructure is purposefully decayed so that these derailings can happen, which can facilitate like Article 2030 and all that stuff.
What's
But
Article 2030?
So Article 2030, so remember before how we talked about Joe Biden signed an act that gave the World Health Organization emergency powers
Oh, okay, you
to
gotta be
declare.
careful with this shit. You gotta be careful with this
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's on YouTube.
So in the event of like some sort of public health crisis involving chemical spills, they can declare a
I
state
heard
of
about that.
emergency.
Yeah, I think you told me about that. Yeah. Yeah, I remember
And
that.
they integrate your area into the 15-minute city programs.
The smart city shit. Okay, I got you.
So all before I made a post on my Twitter saying like the Great Reset's already here. Like they're doing it right now. Like it's right in there.
So
Like
American
they're
Partisan,
moving.
thank you for the 10. And he's saying Ukraine has been a hub for Silicon Valley colonialism and has been testing around for crypto. We're talking millions in transactions. Yeah, I heard that it was connected to the Sam Bankman-Fried, whatever his name is. But so what do you think? So do you think this bank run was artificially triggered or what? Void?
I would not rule that out of the realm of possibility, and Alex Jones already considered it. He's saying that there's in some sense, there may be a social media panic that's being instilled in the public so that they'll go out and do bank runs and destabilize these banks. But it's not just social media because everyone feels the recession already. So they're just compounding that anxiety that's already onset in the American populace. Like everyone knows like eggs are getting more expensive. They know that milk is getting more expensive.
Yeah, the
gas prices are still up. Yeah,
the bread and butter that reproduces the way of life, which is the basis foundation of the economy.
So if anything, that anxiety is already instilled in Americans and average Americans, and they're just capitalizing on that anxiety to further initiate.
Thank you for the announcement, but I'm interested also in understanding the role of the energy markets in all of this because I do believe there's something fundamental about the inflation caused by the sanctions and the Russian oil. The energy markets, it seems like when you look at the economy based on the ability for people to reproduce their daily basic way of life, going to the grocery store, putting gas in their car, the food, all the basics seem to be downstream from the energy markets, right? What powers a fucking economy at the most fundamental level? So that has probably played a really fundamental role here, but we need a good Marxist theory to coherently explain it. We just don't right now because, Marxists still think that baristas are creating value or something. So we need to really see this also as a problem of theory, honestly. But thank you, Voidburn, for coming on. Yeah, this has to be connected with everything else, including the railway stuff and the spills. Yeah.
Something else. I was talking with Reverend Prism. Like, I remember before you pointed out, like, it's not about invading China and taking its resources, right? That's that's nonsensical to me. Because there's like this like a symbiotic relationship because of the embeddedness between America's and China's economies. The United States is basically like they're trying to subordinate China's economy fully.
They want to assail China's economy back into the supply chains that reproduce U.S. sovereignty. Because the problem in China is that there's this emergence of these sovereign Chinese companies like Huawei, just to name one small example, but others that are starting to produce a new kind of global economic order. So the U.S. wants to go to China, take what they have in terms of their production, and just bring it back into the U.S. hegemony supply chain, more or less.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is all about, and this is why. And it's the same thing for Russia, where Russia is having a rediscovering of some new form of like Russian socialism, or
they're building their own. I don't know. I don't know if there's a term for it, but it's the thing that is at the top of the supply chain. So what you could probably call it what else to call it but a socialism, right? But it's a economic polarity, maybe is a word for it. But all supply chains have a conclusion somewhere. And that conclusion is beneficial toward the reproduction of a system, not just toward a commodity of some kind, right? So the problem with China is that it has geared its supply chains toward the creation of a sovereign Chinese economic system that's challenging U.S. hegemony. Russia never had its own economic polarity, but it did have its own sovereign energy industry. And having a sovereign energy industry is a very important first step in being able to build an economic polarity of some kind. And that's what you're talking about with the rediscovery of socialism, that Russia wants to start creating its own economic sovereignty, right? Its own tip of the supply chain, Russian tip of the supply chain, that will obviously challenge the ones that reproduce U.S. hegemony. So it's monopoly capital, imperialist monopoly capital versus the world. And it's also happening internally because even these banks like SVB are being demolished to make way for an increasingly centralization of monopoly financial capital.
And you could even like, I'd say that like the World Economic Forum is basically, it's some sort of like strategic paradigm that's set forth, which is why like George Soros declares Russia and China the greatest threat to open societies. In his own words, the World Economic Forum is trying to bring those nations to heel, and they're willing to do that by undermining the American people and sacrificing them. We are sacrificing our own American people in order to facilitate this dog shit agenda that nobody gives a fuck about. Nobody wants this.
Yeah.
Like that's what's actually at stake. Like,
right.
A lot of Americans are in a lot of trouble because of this. Yeah.
All right, Voidburn, thank you so much for giving us a better vision and understanding to contextualize what's going on. Appreciate it a lot, man. Thank you. All right, so thank you, Johnny. Since 2020, the CBC is investing $1.4 trillion in big tech, AI, data, and 5G. Thanks so much, Johnny. Yeah.
Since 2020, the CPC is investing
that's a
$1.4
big
trillion
threat.
in the next
and
5
you know the
years
big
in
one,
big
guys.
tech,
You know what the big one is?
AI,
I mentioned the
data, and
supply
5G.
chain thing. A big part of that puzzle is chip manufacturing. China is really rapidly catching up when it comes to domestic chip manufacturing. And that's throwing a fucking curveball in terms of the U.S. economic hegemony, because U.S. economic hegemony for a long time has been based in dominating when it comes to technology. US big tech, right? China all of a sudden, I mean, we were fine when China just had sweatshops and they were making sweaters and shoes and manufacturing all of our things. But when China is having its own sovereign chip companies and its own domestic national chip manufacturing, and that's going to lead to a Chinese dominance of the supply chain, which is what the US is scared of. And all of this here is related to that. And here's an example of why that is potentially. China's system is much more centralized than ours. So what if what the US is trying to do is eliminate these barriers to the centralization of the financial system, increasing, and it's always relative, increased centralization of the financial system to better be able to compete with China. A lot of people don't realize the Great Reset is about competing with China. Thank you so much, Maoist.
Made some good pocket money from people betting against Schwab this morning. Until you see the elite flee on their private jets, never bet against clown market schemes.
Thank you so much, Maoist Ron Paul. Appreciate that. But yeah, the US is kind of trying to emulate China in some regards to better compete with China. Why? Because China's system is just better than ours.
25% in trip to circuit breaker. That's bad. In fact, that kind of panic could quickly, conceivably, become a catastrophe. So on the brink of catastrophe, you need one thing: strong, competent leadership. But we don't have that. We have...
Thank you so much, Yellowstone. Appreciate you.
Joe Biden. Today he shuffled out to the podium and announced a bailout.
I want to briefly speak about what's happening in Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. Today, thanks to the quick action of my administration over the past few days, Americans can have confidence that the banking system is safe.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Joe.
Deposits will be there when you need them. Small businesses across the country, the deposit accounts at these banks can breathe easier knowing they'll be able to pay their workers and pay their bills.
All right. So the money the Biden administration is using for this bailout apparently is coming from the FDIC. So the feds have it covered. Don't worry about the details. Everything's totally fine. Hold on. Slow down, pal. How did this happen? Can we get an explanation for that? Don't we have regulators? And how did those regulators, since we're pretty confident they exist, are taking big salaries?
So Michael Hudson has an explanation. We could get to it for why it's not going to work.
How did they miss the fact that SVB was insolvent apparently for months, and not in some complex credit default swap way? You're going to spend 5,000 words trying to understand, but in a really simple way that's easy to understand. Their liabilities were bigger than their assets.
Exactly. That's because of the bonds I told you about.
Very simple. How did nobody notice that? The people who were paid to notice it. Well, Joe Biden unfortunately answered none of those questions. He just ran for the door.
Thank you. God bless you, and may God protect our troops. See you in California.
Mr. President, what do you know right now about
Don't forget the internet. I'm not forgetting it all.
why
Don't worry about that.
this happened? And can you assure Americans that there won't be a ripple effect?
Do you expect other banks to fail, Mr. President?
Should all depositors be protected at all banks?
All right, thank you, everybody.
Okay. Do we know why this happened? He's trying to figure out how to work the doorknob. What we know is the Biden administration is backstopping these deposits. Okay. But that's not the end of the story. In some ways, it's the beginning.
Yep, big government will always save Wall Street. Socialism for the rich. Socialism for the rich.
So here's the part where you pause and ask yourself a question that too few seem to be considering right now. They're doing this. What are they going to get in return? Oh, something, for sure. Remember that after 2008, the Obama administration, Eric Holder, swooped in and imposed DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion standards on the entire financial sector. And that's one of the main reasons our big banks are now increasingly incompetent, and also one of the reasons Americans are so divided by race. Ideologues used the 2008 bank bailout to kill American meritocracy.
Okay, so to translate this for you, because it may sound too partisan for you, objectively speaking, when the U.S. government bailed out the banks, you have to ask yourself a question. Why was there such a big culture war in the 2010s? What was this whole thing going on in the 2010s? Identity politics. It went through the roof, right? Because the entrenched institutional cultural interests were able to be enforced at the highest level of the U.S. economy because of the bank bailout. That it's not that the government forced the banking sector to enforce the cultural agenda. It's that big monopoly financial capital used the government to take control of the entire economy and to use the economy, combining state and corporate power, to kind of, you know, across this, the diversity, inclusion, whatever, probably just the tip of the iceberg when it came to that, right? That's when all the wokeness blew up. It's because our economy collapsed in 2008. Any semblance of a capitalist market economy was gone. The financial capitalist monopoly class fully took over and centralized almost everything. And they combined government financial monopoly power to basically enforce their cultural agendas too. And that is why this woke stuff and this progressive culture stuff suddenly, like overnight in the 2010s, it just blew up. It wasn't because of Tumblr, it just was popular. The reason Tumblr was a fucking thing is because these young women, they were in the universities, they were at their workplace where all this shit was being pushed. I mean, that's where it all fucking came from. The whole economy suddenly became wokeified, right? Well, there's a reason for that. Because of, look at what happened in 2008. The government had to step in, and the forces of the Rockefeller progressive agenda, the open society agenda, the people who have this progressive agenda to completely transform the economy, to turn it into a slave of monopoly capital, fully, right? Fully consolidating everything. They took over. And they took over everything, by the way. You guys have to understand, everything's downstream from these fucking banks. Everything. Every industry you can think of. All the media. All of it. It's all coming down from finance capital. Finance capital, that's who invests in you. That's your lifeline. That's where you get your fucking funding. That's who holds your money. Finance capital, that's at the top of the food chain. Every other industry, literally every other industry, is below that one. Okay? With maybe one exception, which is the energy industry. But the energy industry is connected to the finance industry directly through oil banking, right? So, you know, you got to keep that in mind. Everything's downstream from the financial capitalist monopoly. If you're a startup and you want to have a future, you think you're going to be a capitalist? Oh, I have a lemonade stand. My lemonade stand's successful. And it spreads. That's not how... You can't build a franchise or a company doing that. That's called traditional capitalist accumulation. Yeah. We're past that. That's not possible anymore because of changes in technology, right? If you have a startup and you want your startup to get investment and you want to spread, you need to fucking get injections of credit from investment banks. Otherwise, you don't have a chance, right? But people think Starbucks became a successful franchise because of the labor of baristas and not from injections of credit that came from the financial capitalist sector, right?
Big step, mostly unacknowledged, but we're living with its consequences. So you have to ask yourself, what are they going to do this time? Well, we know we're about to see bank consolidation, big banks eating little banks, and that means less competition. More consolidation means more government control. So what are they going to do with that control? Well, all things being equal, if people don't start making a lot of noise and exerting an awful lot of pressure, it'll mean digital currency, a currency that politicians control. Sign up for the CBDC app to get your food stamps.
Oh, you don't support Zelensky and you don't support Ukraine? Oh yeah, we're gonna shut down your digital currency wallet and you're gonna be deprived of any revenue, any funding. Oh, you want to protest like in the Freedom Convoy? Oh, we don't even have to call the banks and shut your bank accounts down. The government's just going to shut it down themselves. It's going to be like a switch, right? Just with the Freedom Convoy, Justin Trudeau, he had to call them up, and he had to go, you know what, listen, banks, shut down their accounts. People are getting their bank accounts shut down left and right for having opposing views. It's very common now. Okay, you don't even have to go through the private sector anymore. The government will directly do it through the digital currency. And that's what we're in for. That's what we're in for, guys. That's what digital currency means. Thanks so much, PJ.
The banking industry does not lend money. It creates money by lending it into existence. You will never save fast enough to compete with that.
Exactly. That's exactly why our economy's rigged. That's exactly it. Thank you so much, PJ. Appreciate you. Thank you, HDGV. Thanks so much, man. I'm going to wait for this to go through. Actually, I'll read it. It's because they are crypto-friendly. Okay, here it is.
It's because they are crypto-friendly. Even Barney Frank himself said there was no reason for Signature Bank C's. CBDC coming. Sent UMD on Blue App would like to see your project, Gorilla, Sun, at HDGV2.
Yeah, you mean Twitter? Yeah, I'll check that out. Check that out as soon as possible. But okay, I'll be in touch with you soon. But for now, there's an interesting theory that the government wants to not so much destroy crypto, but it's treating crypto like a competitor to its own digital currency scheme. And that's why there's this crackdown on the crypto markets. Because crypto is rogue. Crypto is like anonymous, supposedly at least, right?
You think that's not coming? Of course it's coming. They'd like it to come.
So Jennifer, you keep mentioning the Founders Fund and A16Z. Can you share some stuff in, let's put it in show requests? Because I don't know anything about those.
In any case. Now, we're not alleging a conspiracy here, but we did notice that the four biggest banks, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, JP Morgan, Chase, are doing well.
That's what you got to pay attention to. It's not these four that are collapsing, so what's going on?
And we also noticed that the White House appears to be, maybe we're just reading into this too much, trying to induce runs on regional banks. They seem to be trying to take away your confidence in those banks.
They're trying to collapse the local banks and give more power to these ones. It's the law of monopoly, right?
Here's Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary, not someone we'd ever accuse of having an original thought, but she's a vessel for the plans of others. Here she is on Friday as SVB was collapsing. Now, she doesn't say a word about the fundamentals of the market or the security of your money in banks. Instead, she talks about the one thing that matters to her, which is the racial identity of the people in charge of our finance system. Watch.
What?
I do want to take a moment to note the historic nature of the moment that you see in front of you right now. All three of us are historic first in our roles. The first black woman to serve as CEA chair.
What does that have to do with SVB? What am I fucking looking at? Is this our government? It's like, what? So the big banks, so financial capitalist monopolies are gobbling up the smaller banks, transforming our economy into more of a fascistic economy, and she's talking about her racial identity. What? It's like, this is how wokeism works. They put up some trendy young person to talk about their sex work experiences. Thank you so much, Johnny.
APRC, they are experimenting with digital RMB to make it easy for undeveloped regions to make purchases. In the US, CBDC will be for social control.
Exactly, but this is exactly what happened in the 2010 guys with identity politics. So the big banks consolidated more control than ever. And while they were doing this, right in front of our fucking faces, They appointed these young, trendy Tumblr SJWs to sit in front of a podium and talk about their experience in sex work and all this identity stuff. What? And then they told us the real problem is white people and straight males and cisgenders. It's like, what about the fucking banks though, right? You know, where do you think this identity, it's just like a distraction. Like they appointed this young trendy person to sit in front of our fucking faces as we get robbed by the government and the big fucking banks to fucking sit here and tell us that the real problem is us because we're just too white, male, cisgender, or fit, or ably bodied, or I don't know what. It's like, it's so fucking cynical. It's ridiculous.
OMB director, White House press secretary. The first black women right in front of you for all of those three important.
Wow, the first black woman. Thank you. That's what an accomplishment. I'm the first Lebanese guy. Okay? Should I just run naked into the White House and declare myself the chief of the energy, secretary of energy, and they say, well, what makes you qualify? I said, I'm a Lebanese guy. I'm the first Lebanese, Afro-Asiatic, Mediterranean male to be the secretary of energy. What does that have to do with it though, right? But apparently that's how you do it. That's what it is. And they'll clap for me. I'm naked. There's shit all over me. I'm naked. I look like a dumb idiot, bumbling fool. But, well, I am Lebanese. I'm the first one who's Lebanese. It's like feudalism. Instead of like, what have you brought to the table? It's like, oh, well, this is the thing I was born with that like has nothing to do with me, my character. This has nothing to do with any of my accomplishments, any of my skills or my abilities. It's just like something I've inherited. I've inherited it. They're paving the way for feudalism. Thank you so much, Maoist Ron Paul.
Princess of the Yen is free on YouTube and should be required watching.
I'm gonna check. I keep hearing about that. I'm gonna check that out.
Important key roles in the administration.
These people lack all self-awareness, as if anyone would care. Why should we care? Is there some reason to care? And by the way, you are discrediting by your stupidity and clear incompetence anything you're promoting. You should keep that in mind. But big picture, if you want to make people less confident in regional banks...
Yeah, avoid... People's World is right. Here's how the MAGA right is responsible for the economic collapse. It's the MAGA right's fault. The MAGA fascist threat. Thank you, Void.
People's World articles be like, here's how the banking
they're
collapse
gonna blame
primarily
the
affects
MAGA
trans women
right
of color
and Trump.
and what we can do about it.
This is the baristas are going to be affected. Thank you,
I'm so
people.
glad we have these oppression Olympians reassuring us and showing us their expertise in these trying times. No way in hell I'm withdrawing all my money now. Raised fist.
Thank you, Paperwood. People's World is going to be like, well, this is how the Trump and his magma movement destroyed America.
In the banking system more broadly, if you wanted to maybe induce a run on the banks, this might be how you talk. Oh, we're all of a certain racial group. Huh? What does it have to do with whether the banks have enough cash in reserve to cover their balance sheets? So what we do know is that the Democratic Party, the Biden administration, sees this crisis as a means of expanding their control. And we know this because in a recent Zoom call with the Fed, Treasury Department, and other financial regulators, with members of Congress, Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona asked whether there was a program in place to censor social media posts that could lead to a national run on banks. Now, that's according to Congressman Thomas Massie. Michael Schellenberg has a great piece on this today. Massie was on the call. So think about this for a second. You've got a deposit at a regional...
That is fucking crazy. That's like so unprecedented. They want to censor social media as an economic tool. Thank you so much, Emil.
You may be laughing now, but leftists will try to make it about the Jews' cack.
Thank you, Emil. It's like This is so unprecedented. They're using censorship as an economic tool for economic planning and economic management. It's pretty crazy. And people say we don't live in socialism. Well, we do.
Bank that's
this is not what Marx was talking about in Capital. Promise you it's not.
Holding tons, way more than you know, of long-term treasuries that are worth a lot less than they were when the bank bought them. That means that bank is at risk. That means your money's at risk. But Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona doesn't want you to know about that. Why wouldn't they want you?
Thank you, Chris.
All the SVB heads were women. This was the first all-women bank to fake liquidate in order to concentrate finance capital in larger
Thank you,
institutions.
Chris, for that very poignant observation. I mean, I'm talking about some complex stuff, but maybe it's a really simple reason the bank collapsed. You know, maybe it's one of those simple ones.
To know that. Kind of interesting. That kind of censorship could actually crush people.
Okay, there's one last thing I have to show you. We kind of went too long with the Tucker. Crude oil, Brent crude drops below $80 a barrel because of this SVB collapse stuff. Check this out. Wow, this is no joke, guys. This is no fucking joke. This is no joke. They're blaming Trump-era regulations. Yeah, it's like incredible cope. Because Trump's policies supposedly led to higher employment. Guys, I want to show you some of what Michael Hudson had to say, because I read all of this before the stream. But according to Hudson, employment is playing a big role in this. Let me find it. So, it avoided raising interest rates for so long until the wage-earning bottom began to benefit the recovery in employment. When wages... Thank you so much, Chris.
The reality is Russia's economy is hanging by a thread tied directly to oil prices, hence this engineered drop.
Yeah, true. When wages began to recover, the Fed could not resist fighting the unusual class war against labor. But the policy also turned into a war against the banking system. More specifically, the regional banks, right? Silvergate was the first to go, but it was a special case. After its fraud was exposed, there was a run on crypto. The crypto managers had to pay. Silvergate's failure destroyed the great illusion of crypto deposits. But what could crypto fiends invest in back their coin purchases if not bank deposits, government securities? So why doesn't the Fed just bail out the banks in SVB's position? The answer is that the lower prices for financial assets look like the new normal. For banks with negative equity, how can solvency be resolved without sharply reducing interest rates to restore the ZIRP policy? Because the only way they could bail them out is by apparently doing that quantitative easing stuff, which would require lowering interest rates, which they can't do because of inflation. And he's also talking about how volatility for derivatives, if you don't know what that is, derivatives have these, they're called the Greeks, special, I don't know what the fuck they are, numbers that are attached to them that can grow volatile. They're very sensitive to change. So volatility increased Thursday and Friday. It reached magnitudes beyond what characterized the 2008 crash. They have tens of trillions of dollars of valuations of derivatives, casino bets. I mean, tens of trillions of dollars of... guys, how big is the U.S. economy? U.S. GDP per U.S. GDP. Okay, the entire GDP of America is 23 trillion. These banks have tens of trillions in derivatives. Pretty fucking crazy. Oh yeah, but Starbucks baristas are producing value. Shut up, you fake Marxist idiots. Casino bets on which way interest rates, bond prices, and stock prices will change. So he thinks there's going to be a flight to U.S. Treasury securities instead of the Fed. So we'll see. But this is what's interesting from Hudson. He says that we're going to see the great unwinding of the fictitious capital boom of 2008 to 20. Guys, I gotta fucking go. I have an interview. I'm already fucking late. I have an interview, guys, that I have to attend. I'm so sorry. I really have to go now. Bye, guys. Bye-bye.